Hello, dear listener. This is Yann doing this little from me to you intro for the second week in a row. I am currently still in Provence. I don't have the sun on my face this week. I am in the living room finishing the edit for this episode, which is about Colossal, which is the very first movie which was helped by Legion M. If you listen to our Mandy episode, we talk about what Legion M is. Colossal looks like, if you look at the trailer, a kaiju movie, but it's, if you dig deeper, it's a bit more subtle than just this. So we recorded this a while back. Today is the 4th of March, which also marks the 3rd anniversary of Legion M. So enjoy our Colossal episode. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Today is all about Colossal, which is a 2016 science fiction black comedy film directed and written by Nacho Vigalondo. The film stars Anne Hathaway, Jason Sudeikis, Don Stevens, Austin Stowell, and Tim Blake Nelson. It tells the story of Gloria.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the first film that Legion M invested in. So they actually invested so afterwards. So they helped the distribution.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, they approached Neon. That's the first logo you see when the movie starts. So I reckon, because we watched this one yesterday all together, I reckon you never... did you see a trailer before? Have you ever heard about that movie before? Or?
I googled a trailer when we to realize what we were doing. So I've seen a trailer for it, but the trailer plays as a comedy, and I don't know. I feel that for the trailer for this one, it is a different sell than what the movie is. I feel, in my own opinion.
Yeah, you are. I think you are being misled all the way through, even starting from the trailer, actually.
Yeah, and even like the way that it's described online, it kind of talks about how, will Gloria ever understand why she's connected to this really strange phenomenon that's happening on the other side of the world? And actually, it's a lot darker and kind of weird than I thought it would be.
You remember in Saw we talked about A and B plots.
Yes.
It feels like the trailer sells us the B plot, or what we think's the A plot is actually the B plot, because when there's a revelation in the film that, depending on who you are or if you've experienced relationships in that way, you will start to see unfold quicker than others before we get to the real meat of what this film really tackles, which is, for me, watching it halfway, I'm like, I don't really know what I feel about this film. And then when the whole, twist is the wrong phrase, the reveal of what the story is actually about, you go, oh, this is quite interesting then.
Yeah, it's a lot deeper than you think it is, because it's and I mean, I'm sure that's the whole gist of it. Like, we don't want audiences to know what this is about, and we want them to kind of put their own idea onto the film, right? Rather than we tell them exactly what this is about.
The difficulty is, well, the reasons we have trailers is to go and see the movie. It worked for us because we talked in the Green Book episode that we saw a trailer for Green Book, me and you, and went, I want to see that. And we went to see it.
Yeah.
Not only because we were reviewing it, but the trailer made us want to go and see it. If you put out a trailer for, I'd say, the emotional side of the story, do you think people would still go and see it as much as they would if it's like, oh, it's a comedy featuring Anne Hathaway and a monster in Seoul, sorry.
No, I think more people would come and see the monster aspect of the film. And I think also, if you watch it on that like surface level way, it is enjoyable. Like, I enjoyed myself, but what makes it really, like cut away from the rest of the film. Sorry, let me start again.
The rest of the pack of films that exist in the world.
Thank you, Yann. Exactly.
Well done, Yann.
Is because it has that deeper level underneath that surface monster fight thing going on.
If you watch the trailer without the sound, it may look like a kaiju movie. It's not.
Totally.
It's a bit like Arrival. You have no idea where it's going. and you are being led tightly, and that's, I think, due to intriguing script and impeccable editing, moderate pacing, and smart sound design.
Yeah, definitely.
I wouldn't say impeccable editing.
There were a few.
That's my feeling.
Yeah, I think mostly the editing was good. I think there were moments where it was quite jarring, but that was rare. And I think actually the fact that I didn't really think about it, like I was just watching the film for my own pleasure, I think that lends itself to all the people involved, because you're not supposed to watch a film and go the whole way through thinking about, the cinematography and the editing and...
But for instance, when we are led to believe that she goes back to New York, but the way the story unfolds and the editing, I did not manage to find the script, so I didn't read it, so I don't know how it was actually at first. But we are led to believe via how the story is told that she's going back to New York, and she's not. She's going to Seoul.
Nah, I knew she was going to Seoul.
Really?
Yeah, because when you look at the shot when the map flips upside down, I'm like, oh, I've never thought about, could they go to wherever the monster appears and it appear there? So when that happened, I went, oh, she's going to Seoul.
See, I was quite confused when that happened, because I was wondering what that meant. Like, why are they showing? Because of course, in a good film, every shot means something, right? Or it lends itself to the story structure and what will be the ending. And so, because I was enjoying the film, I was wondering, am I missing something if there is a shot of the map falling?
Yeah.
You're supposed to understand something, and Adam got it. I was lost. That lot was lost on me.
Okay. Yeah, the school project thingy.
Yeah, the serial killer connection map thing on the wall. Yeah.
I didn't clock that.
There was this.
That's what happens.
Yeah, right.
She draws a line between New York and nearly a bad slip there. South Korea. The line I'm like, and then it goes over. I'm like, oh, we're looking at this the wrong way. I was like, you could it could work on both sides. It's not just a one-way thing, which is quite interesting, which you don't think about until that scene, because it's just a map on a wall and it flips over and you go, oh, maybe it works on the other side. But that's just me. I can understand what you guys missed it.
Well, I thought it was, what I liked about it is that I didn't immediately say, oh yeah, I see exactly where this is going. Like I actually thought, oh, that's quite clever that she's decided to do the opposite and see if that has an effect on the person who's obviously abusing his power.
No, that's not what I meant when you're led to believe she's going to New York. In the editing, it feels like the weights, the images unfold. It looks like she's going back to New York.
Oh, okay.
And then on the phone, oh, no, you're not with me, and where the fuck were you, and everything. That the former boyfriend.
Tim.
Yes.
Yeah, I see what you mean. So it really does skip over the fact that she goes to Seoul.
But I don't agree with that, because you see the shot of the map going over, and in my head I'm like, right, she's going to Seoul. But I know what you mean. Like
does Yann mean in the trailer though?
No,
he means in the film, because the film doesn't immediately cut. It cuts her getting on the plane, and then you cut to an establishing shot of the New York skyline.
Yeah.
Tim answering the phone. It's her saying, I'm in Seoul. So I get that, but I knew in my own head that she was going to go to Seoul.
Yeah, but because that's the last thing you saw before. But the guy Tim was also waiting for her, and he called her. She called him, and I've seen it before, so I knew she was going to Seoul anyway. But
yes. Well, I'm on Yann's side in the sense that I thought that she was going to Tim and meet him, and then it would be a happy ending, and somehow she would, I don't know, actually for a second I thought, is she just going to allow South Korea to totally be, and I thought that might have been interesting, like, she was so selfish that she was like, I'd rather have a happy life than, care about people that are on the other side of the world. So there was a split second where I thought she actually was going to choose the ex-boyfriend.
That's interesting. That's two entirely different reading of the same sequence.
Of the same scene, I know.
Yeah.
But of course that immediately ends because you realise that she's not going to meet him, but she's going to Seoul. And she's going to flip the whole situation. on your well, of course, it was me and Adam's first time watching it, but like, Yann, on the first time that you saw it, did you see a deeper emotional side? It's a metaphor.
I knew that it was so different that I liked it immediately, but I saw it like when it, like 2 years ago or something, well, a while back, so I was not analyzing movies as much as I am now.
Yeah.
So I knew it was a good investment. Legion M.
Yes.
Now I'm a bit worried about Bad Samaritan because that's the other one that is financed. And although it has David Tennant, I don't know if you've seen this one.
No, not yet.
No.
But hopefully. Oh, by the way, today, for those actually watching or listening to this, is the 4th of March, which is the 3rd anniversary of Legion M.
Oh, nice.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
So, no, I didn't. Well, I understood that it was way more about toxic relationship, bullying, and alcoholism than about kaiju fights. But, yeah.
Well, I don't. I'm always worried that I read too much into films, but actually I need to stop apologizing because if I take a film in a certain way, it can't be wrong, right? Mm-hmm. I immediately saw this as a metaphor for an abusive relationship.
Go on.
Well, it kind of changed because it seemed like, because it was quite strange, and maybe because I'm not super into sci-fi anyway, maybe I was looking for the deeper emotional connection all the way through. So when I saw that Gloria was connected to this monster on the other side of the world, I kind of thought, oh, maybe it's because she wants to take control of her life. And she doesn't feel like she is because it's like she's become this other thing that she doesn't have control over. But then it comes out that, oh, maybe this is about like different humans taking their power in different ways. Like some people want to help and some people want to destroy, which I thought was really interesting because if you give some people too much power, they become like Oscar, right? And so maybe I thought that was what this was about. And then because he turns it around and says, look, if you leave or if you do anything, or it starts with little things like you need to keep working at my bar and you need to, wash that cup and go this way and that, and really small things. If you don't, I'll do this. So it's like blackmail, manipulation. But then it gets bigger. Like if you actually leave and if you decide to have a happy life, I will use this against you. And that mostly clocked how bad and toxic this relationship got between Gloria and Oscar when they're in the burning bar. And
after the fireworks.
Yeah, and she turns slowly to Tim and she's crying and she doesn't say anything, but Oscar's like, she's not going to come with you. And there was just something really like dark and sinister, but also like that would be how an abuse, like someone will always be like, mate, get out of this relationship or get out of this toxic situation. And somehow, Gloria's like, no, I can't. And it also, you can see it as maybe these monsters and robot thing isn't really real. It's how big they see their own relationship. And actually it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be real, but it's real for them.
It's interesting how the film presents it to us as well, because we see the shift in him after she sleeps with the other guy in the bar. I'm sorry, I don't remember the character's name.
Oh, yeah. Jason? No.
Jason!
Yeah.
Heavy rain meme for the listeners out there. And when she sleeps with one of the...
Joel?
Well, let's go with Joel.
Let's go with Joel.
So she sleeps with Joel, and then you see the shift in him being like a dick.
Yeah.
And you kind of go, okay, I get why you're annoyed, but that's not an excuse. But really, that's just a catalyst for what's already there. Because now there's this scene where they first see each other again when the pickup, that's what it's called, the pickup truck goes past and he's driving and she's carrying the air mattress back. They don't immediately stop. They go past each other and then go, oh, wait a minute, that was, and then come back. Now, I don't know, but if you see somebody you know in the street, you immediately stop. You go, hey, how are you? I haven't seen you in ages. But when it's somebody that you've had a past with and you don't know, or enough time has passed or whatever, you do, that plays more like one of those encounters. I would imagine. I don't actually know.
Yeah, probably it takes your mind to take a while to register that person, because of course she only saw him as a kid, right? So she'd have to like, her mind would have to process him being older. And of course he doesn't expect to see her because she's got this fancy life, which he's totally jealous of. Right? Like
Well, actually, I don't know if well, it's because my chair was broken while I was watching the movie as well. So
you need to stop having like extraneous forces like fucking up your image of a film you're watching.
Yeah, I know, eh?
This isn't the film that I was going to watch. My chair is broken. Fuck this film.
Winging a fire. No, I mean, did I miss dialogue that implied that they went out before, or they knew each, like, the whole backstory of them two? Because you don't really get that, and I don't know if I missed anything like that.
No, it's just shown.
The kids?
Well, not just the kid stuff, like they talk about, oh, what have you been up to since you've left, and that sort of stuff. I got that scene, but is there anything else like that goes on? That I missed, maybe, about them two? Not that they ever, because she talks about you wanted to control me, sort of thing. So I don't know if they ever were an item, or they were just...
No, I think they were too young to be an item. I think they were just really close as kids, right? But she, of course, he doesn't realize this, but she sees him destroying her project. So that's probably what she... And this sets this whole thing off, right? Which is why it made me think that, oh, this is obviously like, you know, hell hath no fury, like a woman's wrath type thing. It's not wrath, is it?
Wrath.
Is it actually wrath, though?
I think it's wrath.
What do you mean? What, like...
Hell hath no fury like a woman's wrath.
It is wrath. I just mean the net is it the word? Is the word right?
What's wrath?
Anger.
Wrath. Yeah?
Wrath.
Wrath. Yeah.
Well,
Either or.
Depending how you pronounce an A, but that's an A there. Wrath.
I mean, some people say the Batchers instead of the Butchers. That's in an Inside Number 9 episode, right?
Oh, yeah, the Batchers.
The Batchers. You're the Butchers.
Butchers. I've never heard anyone say Batchers.
And you're from London as well, so you're
Badger.
Why would anyone say Batcher?
A Batchers.
Anyway, so but my whole thing was that's seemed to happen. She saw him destroying her project, but like she wasn't supposed to see that, so it was kind of like a manipulative way of, because I'm guessing he then brought it back to her broken and said, oh, so the wind destroyed it. I mean, that wasn't in the film, but that's just what was in my head.
Well, she talks about, we don't see that scene until the climax of the film, the full story. In a Paul Wilson way, you know, with the knife and the jumper. Yeah. Because we see Isla take the jumper that she wears when she gets covered in blood out of the bag, but we don't realise that that's the jumper in the bag until later on in the film. And in this film, there's the same idea of, like, we see them going off into the sealed off area, like where the project goes, and we're led to believe that, like, oh, something happens there, but we don't find out till the end that we just see him. She saw him destroy the set, but she's blocked that out as well. So in a way, she doesn't even remember what happens until she needs to, in a way, or is reminded enough by his relationship and how he's being that she goes, oh, this has happened before. Yeah, I quite like that. I thought that was a good way of doing that.
Yeah, and I mean, that's how trauma works, right? That, like, sometimes it will just come and like, oh God, that happened.
Yeah, because I just finished editing the episode that we did with Alan and Tommy. And Tommy, when Yann asks about, like, fun on the set and stuff, Tommy talks about the idea that the thing that all the difficult parts, you know, have been blocked out now because they're celebrating the movie and the success that they're having. You know, your mind erases things to make room for more stuff. So yeah, it's good. I think it's quite accurate. I thought it was a nice use of that. It wasn't very much like, I've remembered, like, Jimmy Neutron, brain blast, like, whole, like, everything coming together at the last minute, like, oh, I remember now.
Yeah.
So after you had the time to think about it all night, Adam, so do you believe Anne Hathaway now?
The thing I have here is that, you know, when you get actors of a certain, like, notoriety, like somebody is quite successful, so you go notoriety. So you watch a film and they play something that they could easily play. Like, I'm not saying Anne Hathaway can't play a lost woman, but there's a certain thing that you have when you have played, like, big roles. that I feel when you go back to playing something a bit smaller, I don't know. It's a weird situation because of course she's good. I believe her. I believe the character. It's just at some points I'm like, this is Anne Hathaway. I don't know if I'm seeing enough of Gloria or if I'm seeing Anne Hathaway. But then in an argument, then that is acting, right? You should be able to bring parts of you to something else. So I'm kind of confused in my own interpretation of, is it enough of both or is it too much of something? Because that's what acting is. It's bringing yourself to a character, but enough to make it real, but not too much that you're not acting. You know what I mean?
Well, I think so. I read that Anne Hathaway basically wanted to do this film because it was different and because the script was something that she'd never really read before, and it was more indie than the stuff that she'd done before because she's a Hollywood actress, right? So, which I thought was commendable, because if or when if I get to that level, I'd want to do the same. I'll always want to be looking at through films, like not through, oh, this will make me lots of money or like be good for my career, but actually I really like this story. And maybe it's because, do you think she might have been, so this is my thought process, that she was sometimes trying a bit too hard to be naturalistic.
A little bit, yeah.
Because she knew that this isn't that type of film, and so maybe it's a different way of acting. Like it's more naturalistic and real, and I
think she does really well at the end. Once we get the revelation, like the last hour of the film, she's great, and that might be because we've been used to the character for that length, or when it starts to be a really serious emotions, and as she's a veteran actor of screen, she knows how to portray that. But there's a lot of stuff in the beginning where we're like, she's quite cutesy, or like, sorry, not cutesy, quirky.
Yeah.
And I think there's a bit of that in there. I'm like, I don't really know if this is, do I believe this? But then it's the character I don't believe. I don't know, because there are multi ways you can look at it. I don't think in no way do I think it's a bad performance, actually. It's not like it's like, I don't believe her at all, that I'm out of the film. I'm still in the film. There are just moments I'm like, this is Anne Hathaway.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sit on the fence, but I do genuinely think it's a good performance. I just don't know what. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I don't know the character enough, or I'm too much for Anne Hathaway. I don't know where I am. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know the actress enough to.
Anne Hathaway. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know I like her because of her name first.
Anne Hathaway, it's a good name.
Yeah, William Shakespeare's first wife was named, or one of his wives. And
first wife, I think you're right.
She actually had the end scene change, the last few seconds. It was supposed to be a bit more dry when Oscar the hand the hand of the monster is a few words about bitch and stuff. They added that because from everything that went on in the movie at that stage, we know that the guy is unhinged, genocidal, but it was a bit too dry to have it like just launch it like without him pushing it a bit like bitch stuff.
Yeah.
So a few days before the show, Anne Hathaway has asked if it was possible. So, it's interesting that you used the word notoriety here, because one nice side effect of this podcast is I learn new words sometimes. And the first time I heard this one here was in Laura, when we had her on for Super Mario, where we talked about Mia, and Adam, you said like, oh, you're climbing up the notoriety ladder there. And I used that word a few times afterwards. Apparently, it's used way more for negative purposes than it is positive.
Yeah, there's people could use saying the rise of infamy. There's a good game for PlayStation called Infamous, which is you can be good or bad, so it's both sides of infamy. You can be notoriety, Notoriety. Sorry, English taught school. I'm in Scotland. We're in Scotland, are we? No. I know. I'm just terrible with words sometimes. It's amazing.
I didn't say please say your T's. I said add a T, please.
You
didn't.
It's also interesting that you're using this one, because for some reason I'm unsure why, but Anne Hathaway, she's hated by people.
Really?
She does. It's because she does great films, and she does you know, like the I don't want to say chick flick, because she does do them, but some of them aren't. Like the off the top of my head, I remember years ago a film came out where she and Robert De Niro, I think it's called The Intern or something like that. Robert De Niro gets sacked from his job and he becomes an intern for Anne Hathaway, and it's that sort of like, you know, upbeat, a bit of, well, no other way of saying it, a bit of fluff.
Yeah.
You know, a film that's just, you know, it's a bit of entertainment.
Yeah.
So she does films like that as well as doing, you know, what she won the Academy Award for Les Mis. Like, she's a good actress, but she does do films that kind of pigeonhole her in that category, like Devil Wears Prada, right?
Yeah,
I think
Devil Wears Prada is actually quite intelligent, I think.
I'm not saying that's a bad film, but the character she plays in Devil Wears Prada is kind of where she got pigeonholed into.
I think it's.
Do you know what I mean?
I think it's because of Princess Diaries.
Oh, that's true.
Which was the film that made her famous. It might be because she's got that look, like she's quirky, she's pretty, she looks different, like, but she's still, you know, conventional enough to be in a box office Hollywood film.
I think that's the thing as well. When you look at, if you get famous for Princess Bride, right, and if you play not Princess
Diaries.
There's too many princess films. That's what's her face? Bridget Jones. No, that's not Bridget Jones. I don't know what I'm talking about now. Anyway, if you get famous for playing a princess, you can't really backtrack and play a heroin junkie.
That's a shame.
That's just annoying. You know what? Because you should.
But that's also bullshit. Like, the industry should. That's not fair. You're an actor. You're allowed to play anything you want.
I know, but here's the thing. Let's take Anne Hathaway as an example of it. Do you remember the ends of Ocean 8?
Yeah.
When the reveal with Anne Hathaway?
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah.
Is that because of is that writing, or is that because you don't believe Anne Hathaway could be that sort of character?
I think that's writing.
Okay.
I think that's writing and editing. I honestly think that sometimes actors are told that, oh yeah, that was bad and that was that. Well, and actually that might have been direction or script or, do you know what I mean? Yeah. I honestly think, she's not my favorite actor of all time, but I think it is a shame to say that if you are I know that casting directors and directors will say, I want an actor that is not known, is not famous, because they want that feeling of, you know, they don't want people to go, oh, that's Anne Hathaway, like halfway through. But that, I don't think that's an actor's fault. That's just...
I don't think it's an actor's fault either. I just think it's, you know, sometimes...
It's a decision.
Sometimes that will affect the way your movie plays.
Yeah, because people will see her as Anne Hathaway, sadly. Like, when you're famous, that's something that you are, that is taken away from you, which is why, of course, certain people will ask for, you know, like, sometimes they'll want people that are famous because they want people to go see it, but also sometimes they're like, make sure this person is not known at all because we want them to be as real as possible.
Well, to be fair, that's what I used to do with Liv Tyler and Al Pacino. I didn't care at all what the movie was about. I was seeing my potential lover for one and a guy I wanted to become for the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's there's something that happens a bit more and more these days. Well, on castings, like we want people without any acting experience, without normal people.
Yeah, exactly. That's interesting. But I do feel it's because she probably was trying to make herself more realistic, because that's the type of indie film that this was. Because in terms of box office, which I don't believe in terms of success, but it didn't do very well, did it?
Well, it had a limited release as well. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it totally, in terms of making a profit, it didn't at all. It didn't even make quarter of its budget back.
Most films don't. I mean, we're out of awards season, or fastly approaching the end of awards season. Most awards maybe don't make massive successes.
No, but they at least make a profit.
Not all of them.
Or they sometimes make their money back.
It got domestic 3 million, and I have no idea of actually how it cost.
15 million.
Oh.
Okay.
That would have been all the CGI, and there were a few locations, weren't there?
Yeah.
And of course, I'm thinking Anne Hathaway couldn't have been cheap.
Well, she's an executive producer on it as well.
Ah, is she?
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know how that works though. You obviously get paid, but I don't know.
You'd be paid more, wouldn't you?
You get paid for both.
I think producers get the most money out of all the
Yeah, well, they get,
People.
depending on what they brought, they get like percentage back.
Yeah.
But yeah, the executive ones are the ones that are actually in there, focused on what is happening. So,
I don't remember what episode, but we did explain that at one point. I don't remember the episode it was on though.
Rain Dance, probably.
But yeah,
that's where
maybe in there.
That's where I learned the differences between associate and real producer.
Yeah.
And but
there was times in this film that when it hadn't revealed what the story was, I kind of felt a bit lost.
Yeah, I didn't know where this was going, and sometimes that works in a good way for a film, and sometimes you're like, yeah, I feel a bit like I'm in open water. And I think I read some reviews of this film and they say exactly the same thing, like stick with it because it actually resolves itself.
Yeah, there are. I mean, if you were to miss pretty much everything and just see individual scenes, like if you just see the footsteps on the playground without any context, that doesn't mean anything. But if you followed it's common sense really, but if you followed everything, well, obviously they also add the foley of the sounds of people and stuff. It's, you know that the genocide is being committed on the other side of the planet.
I thought that was a very clever way of doing it, especially if you're you're out of money or something. It's a very good, cheap way of showing disaster.
Yeah.
I quite liked that scene where he's like stomping around on the playground, she's on the floor, and you've got the sounds. I thought that was very clever. Yeah. I think it's always good when a film talks about emotional abuse because it's not talked about enough in terms of, it's always like, oh, my boyfriend or husband hit me, which of course is awful. I'm not saying that it isn't, but it is always about physical abuse. So it's good that I liked how it brought in, the manipulation, the blackmail, and actually that's a lot darker and messed up to watch because it's like she actually can't get out of this relationship.
I think it's a shame that people automatically, when you hear the word sci-fi, assume, oh, it's going to be firing lasers in space or, like fighting an alien or whatever. When sci-fi, when you think about it, is like horror, is a really good genre to explore darker themes because you can, if like Alien, it's like foreign invasion, like an outside force coming in, or Interstellar, which obviously is, if you watch that, you know what I mean, the whole idea of family and time, and Inception as well with dreams and all these bigger themes that you can tackle using, space or like unrealistic themes.
Don't go to the toilet for any second in those two movies.
Yeah, exactly.
So sci-fi, I feel that sci-fi was quite a good one to explore. And I'm sure there are many, we just haven't seen them, abuse in that way.
It's basically the monsters are just the backdrop. And in the trailers, maybe, I think it was a good, I talked a few times about everything was put in the trailer that I would have preferred if they had kept it, but they would not have had that many people on seats. And they did it in a way that I appreciate a lot. But yeah, it was probably because of that or thanks to that. Well, I don't, it was not seen by that many people, actually.
No.
If a film has humorous moments, is it a comedy?
No.
I don't think this is a black comedy. I think this is a sci-fi drama, in my opinion. That's what I would call this.
Well, sci-fi black comedy could talk about this film, but I don't think it's funny enough to call it a black comedy because, of course, when you think of black comedy, you think of Black Mirror, Inside Number 9, like you're laughing the whole way through as well as going, oh God, can I laugh at that? Or, thinking about the human whatever.
If Green Book was a comedy drama, where the drama was there, but there was a lot of comedy.
Yeah.
It's a drama as well. I don't think this is openly a comedy.
Yeah, it's probably...
And I don't mean that in the fairness, like there's jokes and I don't find it funny. I just feel that, I don't know, I feel like maybe you've called it comedy because...
It gets people to come see it.
Yeah, in that sense, like there are jokes in it. And if you watch the trailer, I saw this in the comment sections of the trailer. People are like, this trailer and the whole, it's not really a comedy, it's more a drama. And I'm like, I agree.
Yeah.
This is more a drama than, than a comedy.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
I think it is difficult to sell a sci-fi drama for sure, especially if you're a smaller studio, and it's an indie project. But
Yeah, I mean but I think it's interesting because now that we know that everyone's trying to like market their film and have people come see it, sometimes the trailer and the way that it's described is misleading. Is that a bad thing? I don't know. Like, because we spoke about this in Suburbicon, because that was totally misleading.
yes,
Is that fair to do? You know what? If you like the film, it is. If you don't like it, usually you're pissed off that it was misleading.
yeah, true.
So you're a little bit biased depending on where it goes in your head.
Subverting expectations, I guess.
Did I tell you about I think I told you about my Johnny English story
No?
a while back. So it was at the time where, when Netflix, Prime Video and all those were not around. So I was joyfully and illegally downloading Johnny English, and I ended up with Equilibrium. Best day of my life.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I hope you didn't think Equilibrium was Johnny English.
I thought, well, at the time it was either another movie or porn. So
Yeah. Like, what am I watching?
Oh dear.
That's never happened to me. But actually, it's interesting because I did enjoy not knowing much about this film before I watched it, because it's true, you don't have any bias, you don't have any thought of like, oh, how will they do that? And so it's completely blank slate. But I also really like that they didn't tell you how to take this film. It's like, this is the surface level of it, and then you can look into the deeper, emotional side of it in your own way and decide on your own what film you want to watch.
Yeah.
From this.
I think I'm struggling more and more to do that now, but I'm forcing myself to unplug parts of my brain while I'm watching it. Here, I only remembered halfway through that she was in the end going to Seoul and fight the guy. But if you're 100% focused on what is happening, it's I'm trying to do that more and more because no, actually, I'm over analytical. And I still don't do the stuff that I said it would be my resolution last year, I think. Watch them twice.
Yeah.
With one version, except when the movie is clearly designed to kick you in the feels, like anything that is done in the How to Train Your Dragon franchise.
Oh, yeah.
I just unplug everything and I just have terrific moments every time. But when I go in a bit too over analytical, I lose stuff, and I really would like to try to watch stuff twice with an unplugged brain half thingy sometimes.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because for Roma, for instance, everything that I liked was pretty much technical, and now I'm listening to marker mode afterwards. Mm-hmm. After I used to watch stuff after we did our review. Now I watched after I watched them when I'm confused, actually. And, but no, Roma, I watched Kermit's review after we did the episode, and, there were some nice points that I missed, and, that were a bit less technical. But
yeah, I think also a good film is if you watch it more than once, you'll realize different things. And so sometimes I'll watch something after we've reviewed it and go, oh, actually, that's really interesting. I would like to talk about that. But
yeah.
So I think, yeah, watching something twice is a good idea. It's quite hard to find the time, but you should make time, shouldn't you? I mean,
also, there's a big change before I knew you guys in ACS, I told that many times that I was always focused on actors. So basically I could easily do 3 or 5 things at the same time and have the film in a small corner. Now, obviously, I need, and that's how you should obviously enjoy and discover and watch a movie, watching the whole thing without your phone checking if your dragons are back from on the game and stuff. Well, anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Do we feel we are around like 45 minutes now?
Oh, Victoria territory here, nearly the shortest episode.
I know.
I don't really have more to say. It was an interesting film, and it does cool things, but I don't feel it overpresents itself. Like, I don't feel it's a film that you need to dig deep into. There are films that we watch that we could mine and mine and mine and mine and mine. Roma's a great example of that, actually. Because you could watch that again, you could take apart scene by scene and go, oh, this is brilliant, that's brilliant. But there are some films out there that don't need that. And not to say this film isn't complex, it does, because we didn't see the twist coming about the emotional abuse, and when it's there, you go, oh, okay. And it's at that moment this film kind of got me. I'm like, okay, I'm into this. I'll go with it. So yeah, I feel that this film's well worth searching out, actually, you know? With no idea what it is, I would say it's a good way to see this one.
I think it was also, the first time I watched it, I may also have been a bit confused. So there are some confusing elements, I guess, which is completely different to... So we talked about Jigsaw twice on this podcast.
I know, of all the films we've ever discussed, Jigsaw is the film we've talked about twice.
The Spierig brothers who directed this, they were given the direction of that movie because of a sci-fi movie, Predestination, that they did just before.
Right.
And this one has the potential to be extremely confusing, but I had a very interesting experience after I watched it. It was so different and everything rushed that, you know, what they say when you're about to die, you see the 10 seconds of
your life flashes before your eyes. Yeah.
Yes. I had that with the whole movie in 10 seconds after I watched it.
Yeah.
It was just incredible.
Huh.
Yeah. That's.
Have you got anything extra to add about this before we go into the rating?
Yes. So the last little scene we see, she goes into a bar in Seoul, and she obviously the whole way through she has problems with alcoholism, so she's not trying to drink. And then what I liked about that is something that I really relate to is that, you know, when you've dealt with this huge problem and you've gotten over it, but then afterwards you realize that life carries on, and you have to go back to the little boring things, or looking after yourself, or being healthy. Like it's not so intense and high alert, or even, you know, underwhelming. And so I actually quite like the fact that it ended on her realizing that, like, oh God, thank God, you know, that's over. Oh, I'm crying because that was so overwhelming and horrible. But oh shit, I can't drink. Like, oh God, life has to carry on. I thought that was so, I don't know, it was just like so understanding of life. Like, you deal with something so horrific, but then you realize that, like, life goes on for everyone around the world. Like, and so you somehow have to pick yourself up and carry on and do the really boring things that you don't want to do.
That's the metaphor of the whole film that you picked up right away after we finished watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think as well that she leaves New York to deal with her alcoholism, and she doesn't deal with her alcoholism. Another problem presents itself that is much bigger than that to deal with.
Yeah.
So we get to the end of the film, we go, I didn't even address the problem I was meant to address. I had to deal with this other thing in my life. So
yeah,
I thought that was quite interesting as well.
Yeah. And that's life. That happens all the time. You know, you have like this is why New Year's resolutions sometimes don't work, because you can't, you know, it's mid-February and you're like, oh yeah, but I've got to do this other stuff. Like, I can't deal with the thing that I thought was really important, you know, after Christmas.
I'm going to go and run every day. 3 weeks in, you like fall down the stairs and break your leg. He's like, well, I've got to deal with this right now.
When I had my Apple Watch for the first time, I went to walk half an hour for 3 months after that, you know, to complete the circles.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now I think I left my watch actually in France.
I know it's tough to do, like, as a, you know, a routine, like,
yeah.
So I liked, and also that was such a subtle way of seeing it, and it didn't dumb it down. I feel like some films have to throw it down your throat and make it, you know, exposition. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Exposition wise of like, and this is what's happening. And actually, you know, I know some people need extra help, but most humans are really intelligent and they don't need that extra thing. So I liked how they didn't dumb it down for you, because they didn't need to.
Yeah.
And you're more likely to take on the meaning of a film if it doesn't do that. You know, that like emotional abuse is horrible, and like a metaphor in a film in a sci-fi way is a really good idea. Yeah, I thought it was quite clever.
Cool. So on that note,
Oh, no.
Anouk, Yann, was Colossal good, bad, or just plain standard? Yann?
I'll put that in a good, and I don't think I've added that little subcategory or flair before. Hidden gem.
Nice.
Hidden gem, that's nice.
Anouk?
I think it was good, and I will add a flair of intelligent.
Cool. Yeah, good as well. I don't know if I've got a flair. I would say interesting use of genre, actually. It's quite good. For maybe my flair. But good.
In terms of hidden gem, we should probably at some point talk about, I don't know if you've seen that one, Chronicle.
I don't think
No.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Or in terms of genre bending, I actually got this one not so long ago. A new twist, just like Alan the Apocalypse, a new twist on the zombie comedy, and One Cut of the Dead.
Oh, yes.
That was also a very limited release, and it was illegally put on Amazon Prime.
Oh, I remember this.
Oh.
Yeah, and removed immediately. But now it's been we have a Blu-ray there.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. So that's Colossal. Do we
Right.
have anything else right now to chat?
Just that I finally, after all those years, watched The People versus O.J. Simpson.
Oh, yes.
right, yeah.
And?
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's interesting.
That's interesting way to fictionalize. Well, I don't know. So American Crime Story. That's the kind of anthology kind of thing. I was wondering because I haven't watched either the horror ones. Are those based on anything real?
No, that's a different thing.
Yeah, I know that's a different thing, but are there any reality in these horror ones?
I don't think so. No, I think they're just American Horror Stories is just a TV series. I think I don't actually know, but I wouldn't imagine it's based on.
No, I didn't know that they were connected, or
Yeah,
I didn't know this.
Yeah, it's a kind of a sub, like America something story.
I didn't know that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm so watching that. That sounds awesome. Okay.
There's Lady Gaga in one of the latest seasons.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think I saw that. Was this the... no, maybe not.
You have seen You've seen the first couple of episodes of American Horror Show.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I liked Joe Guidry, the high-eight Joe in OJ, who in the end ended up actually filming the Keeping Up with the Kardashians thing.
Oh dear.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good series, highly recommended.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I've not got anything for this one.
There's also the documentary, the OJ documentary, that was awesome.
Yes, Made in America.
Made in America. If you're interested in this.
If you've got a spare 9 hours,
It's long.
it's a long one. It's 3 parts, 3-hour episodes.
Well, I think you've got 493 hours, the whole trial on YouTube.
Oh God!
My God. Wow.
I've watched Kardashian, The Man Who Saved O.J. Simpson. The whole thing is about where the bag
I think I
was.
saw that on Netflix. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I remember that being on for a while.
It's such an interesting case, because I feel like everyone kind of knows.
Everyone has an opinion on it.
Yeah. Well, I think most the opinion is the same.
It's interesting because I don't know how it works in the UK, but I realized recently, you have to say alleged all the time, because if you don't, you'll get sued.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Liable.
Oh yeah.
Liability.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Innocent until proven guilty. I mean, I know when trial through social media is kind of worse these days, but it's fair. Like, if you're not charged with anything, like, you shouldn't be not even charged. You're
Convicted.
Convicted, exactly.
Again, an interesting thing is that they don't just touch a second at the end of the doc. It's written like superimposed. He actually did 33. Well, he was condemned to 33 years, but because of some memorabilia stuff, happened.
It's in the doc. Yeah, OJ went to steal some of his get back some of his memorabilia in Las Vegas, and the judge gave him 33 years for it.
If it wasn't O.J. Simpson, they wouldn't have done that. But I think it was probably like, yeah, you got away the first time. We'll get you back. This is America.
Which one? Song of the year.
So which one song of the year?
Best song
we're
of the year.
going on tangents here, but
Well, we could go on for days.
yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, so
I feel that we
once
should-
again, happy anniversary to Legion M. We're
Yeah.
all happy members. We've got a little pin there.
Oh, yeah.
A huge brooch thing.
Should have worn mine. I'm wearing a hat, at least.
It's on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, still on course to have a guest a month. So, we'll, hopefully we need to find a time to have Boriana.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Nice.
Yes.
Via Skype.
Yes.
That'll be a good episode.
And, So, thanks again for listening. It's always growing. It's great. We were.
Adam.
Anouk.
And Yann. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Good, the Bad, and the Just Plain Standard podcast. If you like what you heard, you can leave us a review via iTunes. If you want to keep up to date with what we're doing, you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Good, Bad, Standard Podcast on both platforms. If you fancy seeing the live streams that we talk about on the podcast, they can be found on youtube.com. You search for Milk in a Wineglass. There are other bits and bobs on there too, just to see what Yann's up to during the week. And if you really like us, like really, really like us, why don't you head on over to patreon.com/goodbadstandardpodcast and have a look if you want to support us. Any small donation is appreciated.